Hello folks, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. In this video, we will be discussing a current affair topic presented to you by faculty Sushma KP. So what is the topic that we will be looking into today? India-Iran Chabahar Port, is it a strategic setback? We will also be discussing in the article which was presented in your Economic Times, India's turbulent involvement in Iran's Chabahar Port all but collapses. What exactly is happening? First and foremost, as usual, let me explain it to you like a story. One thing is, your Iran and India has had good relations before your US president, and moreover, your US President Donald Trump has been imposing sanctions on Iran for its nuclear enrichment, and also about now recently it is about the regime change. But before all this, if you see, India and Iran relations were a good one. Why am I telling a good one? Is because at least India wanted to maintain good relationship with Iran, irrespective of the other challenges and issues we had, is because if we have to, India has to have access to Afghanistan, which is the gateway to Central Asia. Then we needed a path into Afghanistan which does not involve the traditional Pakistan controlled routes. So one way we were able to do that is through your Iran. For that, India was involved in the development of Chabahar Port. Through that, we could access Afghanistan, and from Afghanistan, we could also access your Central Asia. So much so that in 2016, a trilateral agreement was signed between your Iran, Afghanistan, and India. Also, your Iran is a participant of a very ambitious project of INSTC, International North-South Transport Corridor. At the same point of time, India and Iran also have come together in your Ashgabat agreement. Again, multimodal transit. Now what happens is, the US president has constantly imposed sanctions on Iran. Wherein the recent news is that US president has announced for anyone having trade with Iran will now be met with additional 25% tariff on all its trade with US. Now just let's assume this comes through. Okay. So how exactly will be the scenario for India? India as of now faces 50% tariff, the highest compared to any other country. Earlier China had it, but for China he has waived 10%, so which means India is at the top position. Now let's assume that this 25% tariff is also added, means we will be reaching and looking at somewhere of 75% of tariff with USA. So this is not good for India in any aspects. So what we did was, when before the sanctions were to come in, India transferred full amount to your Iran based on what its commitment was, 120 million. And it did so for the full transfer is because if once the sanctions are put, it becomes difficult to transfer the funds. Understanding? So now once we have transferred it, before we knew that sanctions would be reimposed, now what has happened? India can now have no legal obligations. Iran can do whatever it wants with the transferred amount. That is up to Iran. Now this is the present scenario. So Chabahar Port was a critical, crucial gateway for India to access Afghanistan and Central Asia without depending on Pakistan controlled routes. But now with USA arm twisting India, telling that there is also a US trade deal that is going to be US-India trade deal. So we have decided that we will shut down the operations. Okay, a particular website which was set up for this is also closed now, so as to insulate all the members from it. And also one more thing is, we didn't have any physical assets which we were controlling, but rather just the control of ports, which we are doing with your Iranian locals who were hired. Now, look at this. This connects India to Chabahar Port, which was the gateway to Afghanistan, and through this we could enter into your Central Asia. Understanding? Now, Chabahar Port is located in the Sistan Balochistan province of Iran and it lies outside the Persian Gulf. One more important point is that it avoids the Strait of Hormuz choke point, and India had developed the Shahid Beshti terminal at this particular port. So, what is the strategic importance of this particular port for India? First and foremost, access to Afghanistan, gateway to Central Asia, and also this was a tool to counter your China's growing presence in the region. How? Because of China's presence in your Gwadar port in Pakistan. So Chabahar is a part of your INSTC. INSTC is 7,200 kilometers long, which is a multimodal transport through sea, rail, road routes. It connects your India, Iran, Azerbaijan, Russia and Europe. It reduces the cost and also time taken for your travel. Look at this. This is the conventional route that we used to take, but this is your INSTC route. Okay? It reduces the travel time and cost. And also 2019 showcased that how important it is for India to find alternate routes and not depend on this choke point itself. This is near your Bab el Mandeb, which is nothing but your Yemen, which is controlled by Houthis. So India's financial commitment around 120 million has been now fulfilled, and Iran can do whatever it wants with that. And at the same point of time, India Ports Global Limited was the operating entity in here. They were the one who were managing the terminal, providing manpower, but did not own any physical assets. Now, the return of US sanctions, specifically targeting your Iran's nuclear program, and also Trump's tariff warning of additional 25%, India had decided to come out. But instantly you can't do that. Yes. So what happened was there was a OFAC temporary waiver, which means US Treasury Office of Foreign Assets Control. It granted us a waiver. That is, see, the sanctions are coming, but for you to wind down operations, we will give you a specific set of time period within which you wrap up all the things. Which was the time period? October 29, 2025 to April 26, 2026. So in this point of time, we will have to cut down all the deals with Iran or business. So what happened? This is only a temporary waiver to wind down operations, not a permanent one. So which is why India had to act fast. So Indian directors, that is if you see IPGL, India Ports Global Limited, the government directors all resigned from your IPGL. The website which was there in order for connectivity and also working operations of your Chabahar Port, this was also taken down. This was done in order to effectively tell that India has exited from this project. And also, this was also done with the aspect that this will shield everyone, including the officials who were involved with this. Understanding? If you see, is it worth it? If you say, tell, should we do it? See, as of now, we have India-US trade deal which exceeds more than 190 billion, and we are eyeing at 500 billion trade deal. So that is comparatively too big compared to what Iran and in this issue it brings to the table. Understanding? And the same point of time, it is not just that yes, USA had a better option, so we sided with USA. Iran right now is having a lot of protests with regarding to what started as economical woes, inflation is now eyeing at regime change. Lot of protests, lot of people are being killed. So, and another thing is Iran is not backing down from its nuclear program. When all of this settles down, when the dust settles and when your US has removed sanctions, then India can return. Okay, this is not a permanent goodbye. So what is India's future role? Again, India can return depending based on your sanctions being lifted, change in your nuclear stance of Iran, and then India can proceed further. But until then, it is suspended. So what is the implications for India's foreign policy? Strategic autonomy, which see India supports multipolarity. And in this, it is becoming very challenging with your US tariffs, okay, dangling on the knife around our head. And the connectivity plans get affected with respect to our INSTC or with your entry to Afghanistan with our Pakistan control routes and connect with Central Asia. And the same point of time, China is bound to gain a lot more here than what other countries would expect, because China is already having a stronger presence in Iran. And another irritant between your Iran is Iran had expressed dissatisfaction over your India's I2U2. I2U2 is India, Israel, UAE, US. So this is a move which is pushing Iran more closer towards your China. Now, based on this particular topic, we will look at a possible prelims question. What is the importance of developing Chabahar Port by India? 2017 question. India's option A, India's trade with African countries will enormously increase. India's relation with oil producing Arab countries will be strengthened. India will not depend on Pakistan for access to Afghanistan and Central Asia. Pakistan will facilitate and protect the installation of a gas pipeline between Iraq and India. The correct option is C. India will not depend on Pakistan for access of Afghanistan and your Central Asia. With this, we come to the end of the content. If you like our content, subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, share it along with your friends. Thank you.